Depending on where you live, there may be too few or too many parrots in your life. Free or in captivity, they are birds of great fascination, spectacular and somehow special. But why are they so appealing and at times so appalling? Is it their intelligence, their humorous antics, or simply their colors that keep parrots popular? Color is an attraction. That's its purpose for this macaw. And parrots are the brightest colored birds in the world. The macaw is anything but camouflaged. It's a flying advertisement for healthy macaws. Little wonder people fancy having colorful parrots in the living room to go with the wallpaper. But these parrots are all green. The wallpaper in the wild is often green, and these birds like to disappear into it and hide. Now that's camouflage. A female macaw looking for a partner will be impressed by bright, healthy plumage, and it's brighter still in older, experienced males, a sign of quality in a prospective father of her chicks. But gaudy feathers not only advertise one macaw to another, they catch the eye of people in the villages down below. And in Brazil, the Kayapo Indians have admired and envied macaws for a long time. So much so, they like to dress in their feathers. The headdress maker's passion for plucking leaves the macaw a little short of its best plumage, but it does grow again. Grounded by loss of flight feathers and parted from their families, macaws settle for human companionship, like many other parrots all over the world. This Australian is really keen on rainbow lorikeets, and these are all wild. Intelligently, they come for the food put out for them every day. He is rewarded by their loyalty to his generosity, and hundreds of tourists turn up to see the colorful spectacle of man and parrots. The intelligence that draws parrots to us is far older than we are. Parrots in the South American rainforest need to find trees that are in fruit. Their problem is that not all trees fruit at the same time. There's another catch. The fruits often contain poisonous seeds. It's the plant's way of protecting itself. So, ingeniously, the parrots look for medicine, and the natural pharmacy they need is only a flight away. These cliffs are made of clay, and they eat it, the ideal cure for stomachache, perhaps working rather like a dose of kaolin does for us, or even counteracting the toxins in the seeds they've eaten. There's also a pecking order among the different kinds of parrots that use the cliff. The massed flocks of cockatoos in Australia, so useful for confusing predators, nowadays find themselves in conflict with farmers, and it's their intelligence that is their downfall. To begin with, the very common grey and pink cockatoos, the galas, learned how to open grain sacks. The farmers countered with parrot-proof grain stores. But plenty of grain was spilled onto the ground from trailers, so the farmers sealed the trailers, and the parrots watched and waited. Then the farmers began to feed corn to their cattle, and the clever cockatoos flocked to the fields to share the handout. Now there were more parrots than ever: galas, white cockatoos, sulfur-crested cockatoos, and others by the million. There's an uneasy truce on the farms today, but parrots do seem to rule, okay? Rice feeds the vast populations of China and other Far Eastern countries. It thrives through the intensive labor of thousands on the terraced paddy fields. But at the mouth of the Yangtze River, wild rice grows and still sheds its seeds, unlike cultivated varieties. Wild grasses, including rice, are attractive to wildlife. Finches with their seed-cracking beaks flock through the standing rice, and another creature that once lived only here, feeding and breeding freely, the black rat of Asia. But when rice production was expanded to meet human needs, these intelligent rodents moved to the fields and grain stores, their populations exploding as they thieved our food. Rice and rats were old partners. Hormones in the plants signaled to the rats when the crops would ripen, and the rats timed their breeding to these weeks of plenty. But soon stores became available all year. Crowded together, the rats breathed each other's breath, and odor messages told of new discoveries to please their insatiable appetite. The black rats shipped themselves from port to port worldwide. Humans virtually handed food out to them. Once nesting in hollow trees, this versatile plunderer took readily to the shelter of houses and the abundance of refuse available as cities grew. Without competition, they prospered and bred. Each female will have 5 litters a year, each with 10 babies. The multiplication rate is phenomenal. Their history paralleled ours. As the medieval human populations grew and spread, so the black rats followed. But hidden in their fur was a time bomb, fleas that sucked their blood and ours and transmitted disease. Like wildfire, the great pestilence of 1347 spread through Europe. Bubonic plague killed over 20 million people. Within 3 years, 1 person in 3 had died of the Black Death. A major recurrence of the plague in 17th century London only ended with the Great Fire of 1666. The rat had become the animal the world loves to hate. But today, in India, at this temple in Rajasthan, these rats are respected animals. In the Hindu religion, they are the representatives of the relatives of the goddess Karniji, and every night, this service is held to honor them. Hindus believe that all forms of animal life are to be revered. Every day for 400 years, pilgrims have come to worship alongside the reborn family of Karniji. Sweets are offered by devout Hindus who believe they will also be reborn as temple rats, and that the rats on their death will become villagers. Competing males spar for the right to mate, and a female on heat attracts more interest than she can possibly accommodate. It's little wonder there are so many. The rats can conduct their affairs with no fear of predators. Where a wild colony might number only 600, here there are 10,000. And in broad daylight, it's a rat heaven. The rats take all kinds of liberties with temple visitors. The animals, it seems, are clean, so there's no health risk to worshippers, some of whom come to share their food with the rats, who they believe to be their deceased friends and relatives. Rice for these rats comes cooked and curried, no problem for a rodent that conquered the world. ready for takeoff, the world's finest natural flying machine. A master of the skies, the Peregrine has speed and agility. Its body is streamlined, the wings taper to a point. This falcon is built for the skill of acrobatic display and the rapid pursuit of other birds that are its prey. Like a fighter aircraft, this bird is equipped to kill. A squadron of pigeons is heading for some fields. The peregrine will choose only one. Catching sight of the danger, the pigeons scatter. The peregrine rapidly gains height, ready for its power dive. The pigeon is fast, but the peregrine can come out of the sun at up to 200 kilometers per hour, a deadly stoop. This pigeon will never know what hit it. The peregrine's natural home is a cliff-top kingdom. Its spring, and the female, properly called the falcon, is on eggs. Seabirds and rock doves are among the peregrine's prey. Of the 4 eggs, only 2 have hatched. The others are infertile. No matter how much the female taps the remaining eggs, no more chicks will emerge. She and her new family now rely on the male to bring food. He is smaller than his mate and is known as the tersel. He's caught a rock dove, the ancestor of most common pigeons. At the nest, chicks and falcon must wait while their food is prepared. The tersel has flown to a plucking post, where he sets about removing the feathers from his kill. The tersel delivers a plucked carcass, but it's the falcon that will feed her chicks with extraordinary delicacy. Strong updrafts of air are ridden with skill by the many birds of the sea cliffs, including this raven. But the peregrine is watching for the rock doves that nest in holes in the cliff. He's been their dangerous neighbor for thousands of years. Little wonder then that pigeons and peregrines have taken to a new home. The cliffs and canyons of New York are as attractive to pigeons as are the building in many cities. And the peregrine also is on the town in Manhattan. Streetwise as pigeon may be, from the west side to the east, but even on Fifth Avenue, there are dangerous eyes in the skies. The peregrine in New York is Superbird. He's an ally of the city cleansing department, and there are now more peregrines in New York City than in a similar area of countryside. His mate calls for food, and he'll pass it to her, togetherness among the skyscrapers. It's an office lunch for 4, and whoever else happens to be watching. The continuous cycle of life on Earth frequently depends on the cooperation and industry of insects. Among them are many kinds of wasps and bees, whose lives of intense labor in their elaborate palaces of wax in many ways mirror our own industrial society. Tenements of cells house honey and larval bees, mostly new workers, sterile females whose labors will fetch pollen and nectar from flowers and trees outside the secluded hive. Such factories of natural sweetness inevitably were found and exploited by our most ancient ancestors, and honey remains a delicacy worth the pains of collection. Harnessed in hives, colonies of bees now work for us. The miraculous way they navigate from flowers to honeycomb, a scientific wonder. With sacks on their legs loaded with pollen, bees return to the hive, setting course by sun compass and guided by familiar landmarks. Their sense of time adjusts for the changed position of the sun since they left. Guard bees at the entrance check the foraging workers in by scent. The hive must be protected from invaders. Constant fanning of the wings circulates air into the colony. Nectar, carried in a special stomach, is regurgitated to other bees that will assist its evaporation into honey. Now the forager tells her comrades where to find the best supply, and she indicates direction and distance by dancing, reenacting her journey. Following the route they've been told, they unerringly find the flowers. They note the position of the sun, which changes while they forage. The language of the bees is subtle, and their perception of light and time precise. Their ancient ways serve us well. Australian Aborigines, the bee is a spiritual partner, linking their world of mythological animals with their practical need to live off the land. Sweet sap released from the cut bark has attracted a bee that will now be tagged with a lightweight twist of spider's web. It's a tracker's trick that will make the bee easily visible for the man to follow. A bee's eyes perceive patterns of polarized light we cannot see that map the way to its nest. By following their sacred relative, the Aborigines can share its honey. Similarly, in Africa, this bird is a honey guide. The bird is attracted by the whistles of the Boran tribesmen, but almost immediately begins to move away from them. Its pattern of flight is a signal to the men that they should follow. Once again, this is an ancient partnership of bird and human. The honey guide knows where there is a bee's nest, and she has led the men, who are honey gatherers, straight to it. The bees are dangerous. The men use smoke to subdue the swarm. The honey guide waits patiently for its reward, a piece of the honeycomb full of grubs that the honey gatherers will not fail to leave. The pact is sealed, and the bird will betray the bees another day. There's one sound in the wilderness of Africa's Kalahari that will alarm even a lion. This is an ancient thunder, the hooves of African buffaloes on migration. They see a lioness as a threat. She hides from them prudently. Their horns and strength are to be respected. The herd pounds the earth on their way to water in the Okavango's delta. Today, they have the lioness under their control. But every morning is different for the nomads, as their nostrils catch the scent of distant rain, and with it, the promise of fresh pasture. Several of their number, weaker brethren, will be taken by lions they never see, striking from the cover of grass and bush. But that selective kill has made the herds strong and powerful. Fearless beasts like these were among the several ancestors of the docile cattle taken to the service of people around the world. The land was tamed by farmers to grow their crops. Technology improved the yield of foods. Inevitably, this new miracle of abundant growth was plundered. Rice and other grasses drew wild cattle to the fields, so laboriously planted. In time, the unwelcome invaders were tamed and yoked to serve the very task that provided them with easier food. The strength that earlier farmers revered in the tamer varieties of water buffalo they used at first was not lost when castration became the fashion to make them tamer still. But respect for them did decrease. They became beasts of burden with little will of their own, easily exploited as replacements for human labor. The dignity of their wild ancestors was lost in these city workers. But elsewhere, cattle do enjoy a more natural relationship with us. Splendidly horned, this herd is returning from fresh pasture. They're led not by a dominant bull as they would be were they wild, but by herdsmen of the Dinka tribe in southern Sudan. The animals have been watered on their way to this village and will be cordoned here for the night. These oxen can only survive here because of their attentive human companions, and the people likewise need the cattle for meat, blood, and milk. This cow will leave her calf in human care tomorrow while she's out to pasture. This privileged ox's Dinka companion lavishes care on an animal that has been his since he was a boy. Each day, this beast is fed in the village. It's a valuable asset, a dowry that may help the man find a wife. Songs the ox cannot understand are sung in its praise. The effect is to soothe the animal and strengthen the bond between animal and owner, without which neither could survive here. For cattle in India, that old close relationship of pastoralist and animal has become a part of Hindu mythology. The cow, a soul reborn, is revered and in elegant ceremonies is thanked for its sacred gifts of milk, ghee, yogurt, urine, and dung. Holy status gives these streetwise cattle immunity from persecution. Not for them a monotonous diet of garbage, functional as that may be to the cleaning of the city. These are shoplifters, protected by religion. Nothing but the best for them, and woe betide the Hindu who forgets to be devout. It's enough to test the patience of a saint.